Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Bible Basics. I'm here with Dustin again. Today we're talking about the fruit of the Spirit, which we can all probably quote off the top of our heads, but there's some more significance to it. I think it's one of those things we kind of gloss over, like, oh yeah, patience, love, kindness, those are great things, but there's a reason that they're in the Bible. There's some more meat to it. So Dustin, what is the fruit of the Spirit?
The fruit of the Spirit, it's the Bible talks about it in Galatians, and it's defined for us as love, joy, peace, long suffering, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not. Notice it's not fruits of the Spirit; it's the fruit of the Spirit. It's a collective, I believe, that as children of God, that we possess those things, and it's a way you can, and again, we can't use it to like judge someone if they're a believer or not just because you don't see one of these things. But if you look at it over the course of their life, I believe all of these things will be manifest eventually in their lives as they grow. So, all these aspects of love, love is the greatest of the gifts as Paul talks about. So when we talk about love, joy, and peace, those are talked about probably more than any other component of it. But I think that the fruit is just it's just like fruit on a tree. It's basically evidence of what's inside, because this is the nature and character of God. So those of us that possess His Spirit will again display these things, again not perfectly, because we're
not perfect.
We're not perfect.
Yeah, but I guess the concept is when you have the Holy Spirit inside of you and you're operating in a life pursuing the Lord in relationship, the evidence of that life naturally, not from like performance or striving, but naturally should result in love, peace, patience, which is also translated to long suffering, which is not as nice of a word as patience is. Long suffering.
That's true.
All of those things. So
and you remember in Galatians 5, right before he talks about the fruit of the Spirit, he talks about the works of the flesh. Where he talks about adultery, fornication, uncleanness, lewdness, idolatry, sorcery, hatred, contention, jealousies, outbursts of wrath, selfish ambition, a lot more of these, selfish ambitions, dissension, heresies, envy, murder, drunkenness, revelry.
All the bad stuff. This is what you don't want to do. Here's what the evidence is of, good. We want these things.
It's interesting there's so many of those.
There's a lot more. Yeah, it is very interesting. So what are some ways that you can implement the fruit of the Spirit in your life? If you're like, okay, I've got some of these things. Like, I feel like I'm a loving person. Patient, I'm not patient. Maybe I'm not that kind. What do you do?
I wouldn't pray for patience. Every time I've done that in my life, I've regretted it, because
God gives you an opportunity.
I've gone into a season of
waiting,
patient,
long suffering.
Yes, it was it's not fun. I'm not saying you shouldn't pray that. I'm just being kind of flippant here. But, I don't recommend necessarily praying that way. But I think that we can't do these things ourselves. We can't produce this fruit. It's the fruit of the Spirit of God.
Yep.
So
that's a good point.
But he says, if you're anyone who lacks like Jesus says, anyone who lacks, let him ask. And God will give abundantly to all who ask. So if you lack gentleness or you lack it, those are just good indicators of where we need to grow still, because we're never going to arrive.
Oh, it's for sure.
On your best day, you're not hitting all those marks.
Yeah.
You're just not. But it's a process, but we have to be, I believe, dependent on Him, because we can't do it.
Yeah.
We try. It's an utter
we mess up every time.
We go right back up there to
the first things.
The fornication, the uncleanness, the lewdness, all those things.
When we try to do it. I think that's a good point. It's the fruit of the Spirit. It's Him through us that generates it. It's not because we do or say something special, but it's in our pursuit of Him that stuff naturally grows on our trees. All the nice stuff. That's good to eat. Awesome. I love it. Well, thank you guys so much for watching this episode of Bible Basics, and we'll see you next time.